Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel.
This is a sample video of our latest podcast episode, number 114, in which we discuss the controversial topic of the moment, lab-grown meat.
This is a huge topic and we went everywhere. We talk about what it is and why it's in the news.
The myriad of pros and cons. We talk about the online debate between vegans and animal rights activists, our opinion and how it's changed over time, and so much more.
This is a very short sample of a very long discussion. If you'd like to listen to the full podcast episode, you can join us on Patreon, which is linked in the description below this video.
We hope you enjoy watching and leave us a comment down below to keep this discussion going. And as always, we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
First question, I guess, is what is it? What is lab-grown meat?
Yeah, that's right. Well, it goes by many different names, which we're going to talk more about in a moment. And when you search it on Wikipedia, it comes under the heading of cultured meat. So just reading from Wikipedia, cultured meat is meat produced by in vitro cell culture of animal cells instead of from slaughtered animals. It is a form of cellular agriculture. Now, there are other names other than lab-grown meat and cultured meat.
Yeah.
There are the terms healthy meat, slaughter-free meat, in vitro meat, vat-grown meat, lab-grown meat, cell-based meat, clean meat, cultivated meat, and synthetic meat. And they've all been used by various outlets to describe the product.
You can see how big this topic is and how confused people make it. I know, we're like 2 minutes in, right?
So between 2016 and 2019, clean meat gained traction as the term preferred by some journalists, advocates, and organisations that support the technology. The Good Food Institute coined the term in 2016, and in late 2018 published research which claimed that clean better reflected the production and benefits of the meat and surpassed cultured and in vitro in media mentions and Google searches.
I totally agree with that. Like my first reaction or I guess my first instinct is to go with clean meat. I like that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about why that has some drawbacks though in a moment.
You've done your pros and cons list for each
I
name. Oh my gosh.
Now, despite this, some industry stakeholders, and we're talking about the meat industry here, felt that the term unnecessarily alienated conventional meat producers.
It's dirty.
That's right. The inference is that non-lab grown meat is dirty meat.
It's true.
Which it is.
That's why I like clean meat.
Exactly. Continuing to prefer cell-based meat as a neutral alternative. But of course, cell-based meat has negative connotations, which I want to talk about in a moment.
Yeah, because it just sounds like it's something really weird.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's made in a lab, which it is, but it really emphasizes that point.
That's right, which is why the meat industry would love it, yeah?
Of course, which means clean meat should be what we go with. Basically go with anything that the meat industry doesn't like.
Yeah, but I'm going to explain why we shouldn't go with clean meat in a moment.
Okay, all right. I'm on pause.
In September 2019, the Good Food Institute announced new research which found that the term cultivated meat is sufficiently descriptive and differentiating from conventional meat, possesses a high degree of neutrality, and ranks highly for consumer appeal.
I don't like it.
Fair enough. I don't love it, but when we go through the other alternatives now, I hope you can see the case for cultivated meat. Okay,
you're going to have to really sell it to me. I'll just say that.
All right.
And before we get into it, all the names, I just want to say, isn't this absolutely insane? This is so ridiculous to think that we're at a point where we're debating what we should call this basically animal flesh grown in a test tube in a lab because people just can't get away from putting dead animal flesh into their mouths.
Yep. Couldn't agree with you more.
It's beyond. I feel like I'm in some kind of weird sci-fi movie. And I think this really summarizes just how addicted people are to eating animals.
Yes.
And just how much they resist just eating plants. It's extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. It's mind-boggling. The lengths that we will go to.
I can't believe that we're doing this.
I know. What are we going to call it? Well, let's look at the alternatives here. Cultured meat. I say no because when I think of something cultured, one of the first things that come to mind are bacterial infections and swabs, throat swab culture to diagnose strep throat, which of course is a highly negative connotation. So I'm saying no to cultured meat.
So that's where your mind went straight away. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And if other people's, particularly carnists, minds go that way too, I don't think cultured meat is the one that we should take. So,
our listeners, has anybody else's mind gone down the
bacterial infections and swabs?
Or is it just Luca? Because I wouldn't have thought that.
Okay.
I don't. And now now you've put it in my mind.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking that.
And you can think that you can see how others might think that as well.
Maybe.
VAT-grown meat.
That's weird.
I say no.
I'm thinking of VAT tax.
Well, exactly. That's right. That's how it's used. And of course, taxes are almost always unpopular, right?
I'd be thinking, am I going to be taxed more for this?
Yeah.
Lab-grown meat?
Yeah. Value-added tax. No one wants that.
Mate.
The charge against lab-grown meat, led by agriculture and husbandry bodies, is that it simply isn't meat if it didn't come from an animal.
It does come from an animal.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
How stupid
isn't
is that?
The US,
it literally
I know,
comes
it's
from an
infuriating,
animal.
isn't it? The US Cattlemen's Association, for example, successfully lobbied Missouri to pass a bill ruling that plant-based and lab-grown meats cannot be called meats. The Cattle Council of Australia has been putting similar pressure on the country's government since 2018.
What they mean is it's not that it doesn't come from an animal, it's that the animal that it came from wasn't shot in the head, had their throat slit and head chopped off. That's what they mean. It comes from an animal. It's just not a murdered animal. Oh, heaven forbid.
We've got to have the murder. If the murder's not in there, it's not meat.
God. I could literally see them doing that and saying that, just like you did. It's got to be murdered.
And then if an activist wears a meat is murder t-shirt, they'll say, it's not murder, it's slaughter.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's not slaughter, it's processing.
Oh, it's harvesting. We're harvesting. Don't you know that? I know. It's insane.
Isn't it?
So, it's wow. Now, this is what I mean. The industry is going to fight this until they can make money from it.